Ladies and gentlemen, to further illustrate how shameful Senator Gillibrand's vote is, you should all know that it's going to come out how close we were in 2009 to seeing the regime in Iran collapse. We had the opportunity. Why do you think we have the Clandestine Services Division of the Central Intelligence Agency? It's to send aid to people like those who were bloodied in the streets by the mullahs. That regime was close to collapsing, and we helped them. Here to speak about that and other terrible, terrible deficiencies in this agreement, I want to welcome a great historian. Please welcome Michael Ledeen.
First, I'd like to thank the men and women of the New York Police Department for helping us organize this terrific rally tonight. For those of you who haven't worked in this field, the New York Police Department is probably the greatest counter-terrorist organization in the United States. And I'm pleased to be here. Very quickly, when the president says to us, you've got to choose between this deal and war, it's a false choice, because the war is on. We've got war. Iran has been waging war against us since 1979, 36 years. And they will continue to wage war against us, deal or no deal. And I point out to you that as of this date, no one has signed that agreement. Not a single country, not a single national leader. The Iranians have said they're not sure they're going to sign it. And we're waiting on people like Senator Gillibrand to find out whether we're going to let our president sign it. So that option, either the deal or war, is a false option. We're at war. The issue is whether we can win the war, whether we will finally get our heads screwed on straight and wage war against Iran. And I put it to you this way. If we could bring down the Soviet Empire without firing a shot, by supporting their enemies inside their own country, we can certainly bring down the regime in Tehran by supporting the people in that country. And never mind all this talk about stand firm, defend this, defend that. I'm the father of 3 young Americans who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, 2 Marine officers. And they were under attack from Iran for all those years. There was a period of 10 years when we had either a child on the battlefield or a child training to go fight on the battlefield. And when they got there, they saw Iranians everywhere. But the people of Iran hate this regime, and they deserve our support. American policy shouldn't be making deals with this evil regime. American policy has to be regime change in Iran. Bring it down. Bring it down. Give the Iranian people a chance. Give the Middle East a chance. If we can do it to the Soviet Empire, we can sure do it to the Ayatollahs in Tehran. Thank you. God bless you all.
Where's Sami? Sami, come on up here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the greatest problem with this deal is that those who support it have exhibited an abject memory of history itself. It so happens that my mother, who's not completely mobile, she's a Holocaust survivor, as was my father and my wife's parents. But we happen to have, by coincidence, a gentleman who comes from the same part of Eastern Europe as my mother, and he and his parents survived the Holocaust. And he has a lesson for all of us on the foolishness of ignorance of history. Please welcome Sami Steigmann.
My reason for being here is because my parents and I lived and survived the horrors of a tyrannic regime which was allowed to rearm and also possess the tools necessary to carry out their evil plans against the world. The greatest tragedy in human history, the Holocaust, did not happen just because there was a global anti-Semitism. The reason is that Hitler and the Nazis had an agenda. Their ideology was that the Germans were a superior race and there was no room for Jewish people because they were not only a threat to Germany, but they were a threat to humanity. Iran also has an agenda. Their agenda is to dominate the Middle East and at the same time to destroy and annihilate Israel. Senator Schumer, it is great that you understand the pitfalls of the Iranian deals and will vote against them. But that is not sufficient. The greatest tragedy in the world have happened because the world stood by and did nothing. Senator Schumer, please, do not be a bystander. Senator Schumer, fight for what you believe and make sure that you follow Democrats, okay, will follow your suit. Senator Gillibrand, if we don't learn from history, history will repeat itself.
God forbid.
Just like President Obama, okay, the Prime Minister of Great Britain, okay, pursued a foreign policy of appeasement. In 1938, he signed an agreement with Hitler. The agreement was based on hope, on the fact that Hitler will be appeased, and in the firm belief that it will lead to a long-lasting peace. Unfortunately, it was a very short-lived euphoria. Within a few months, World War II started with its tragic consequences. Senator Gillibrand, do you honestly believe that Iran will give up their dream of over 3 decades to dominate the Middle East and destroy Israel? Does anyone here believe that?
No! Never!
Senator Gillibrand, do you honestly believe that the fascist regime of Iran will not do what they are saying? Death to America, death to Israel. Is there anyone here that believes that? Just because President Obama does not understand the unintended consequences of this deal, we do, don't we? This deal will only postpone by 10-15 years the inevitable, a nuclear Iran. Let's remember and never forget, the next global war will not be a conventional one. Can anyone envision its devastating effect? Okay. To the leaders of Iran and the world, I have a message for you. Israel is here to stay, whether you like it or not. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai. And to Senator Schumer and Gillibrand, for the sake of our children and grandchildren, please do the right thing. Vote no and convince your fellow Democrats to do the same thing. God bless these United States of America, and God bless Israel.
Yay!
Thank you, Sami. Please welcome my co-organizer, Richard Allen, who will bring up a great guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just spoke to the NYPD. We have 7,000 people here. I'm told this is the largest rally in front of a sitting senator's office ever in New York State.
Yay!
I have the pleasure of introducing Kevin McCullough. He's a radio show host on 970 AM, The Answer, also WMCA. He broadcasts to over 1,200 radio stations nationally. And when you see the signs that say, "What part of Death to America do you not understand?" Those were the words of Kevin McCullough on his show when he said, "Everyone, I don't care if you have to take a plane, a car, a train, or walk, get to one of the Stop Iran rallies." Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Kevin McCullough.
Hello, Manhattan. Friends, I come to you tonight with a great burden on my heart. That burden is this: that there was a moment in time on a late August night in 2015 when voices from across America came together to say, we want peace in our time, but we want security as well. There was a moment in time in August of 2015 when thousands of people came to Times Square and set the largest record for any protest that's ever been held in that area, not associated with New Year's Eve, and said, "Senator Schumer, kill the deal." Friends, there was a night in 2015 when thousands more came to the office of Senator Gillibrand and said, "Senator, stand with America, not with Iran." Friends, my great and heavy burden that is upon us tonight is for my 5-year-old, who tonight, as of 30 minutes ago, went to bed and is sleeping peacefully in his bedroom right this minute, but under different circumstances. In days to come, may not have a peaceful bedroom to sleep in, may not have an orderly world to go about going to school in, may actually fear that the days that come before him are more dangerous than the ones that his father faced or the ones that his grandfathers faced. Friends, it is this burden that I have carried with me for the last many months. For my last 3 trips to Israel, and as I return in October, taking listeners with me to show them the amazing story of what Israel is to the Middle East. Friends, this is a burden that does not leave me a single day. That if we empower those who do evil, they will do evil against those who see good. And so it falls to us. It falls to us, whether people across the street or down the street don't even realize it. Those who have good in their heart must stand to defend all of us, or there will be no one standing to defend what is good. It becomes very simple. It becomes very simple. Listen to me very carefully. My 5-year-old who sleeps peacefully tonight came to me 2 days ago and said, "Dad, I want to go out and play." And I said, "You can as soon as your bedroom is clean." He said, "Okay, I'm on it." And off he went up the stairs. 30 minutes later, I realized I hadn't heard from him for a while, so I went to him and I said, "James, what's the story with your bedroom?" He said, "Dad, I'm on it, I'm getting it done." I said, "Okay." Another hour goes by. I said, "Son, you're losing daylight. You're not going to be able to play if you don't have your room clean." He said, "Dad, can't you just take my word for it?" Now, I suppose that that's possible.
Jim.
I suppose that I could be very foolish and assume that a 5-year-old was going to do exactly what was expected of him without accountability. But friends, it hit me starkly in the face. What kind of fools walk the planet that can say to the people that are developing nuclear weapons, "We will go with you to the doorway of your facility, but we will let you be the final arbiter of what is or is not being done inside that door." The idea that our president could agree to a side deal and say you get to inspect your own facility is foolishness. It's foolishness. And just like I had to say to my 5-year-old, you don't get to decide when your room is clean. The accountability, your father will decide when your room is clean. President Obama, Senator Gillibrand, and every person that is working to undermine the security of Israel and the United States, you will not allow Iran to inspect its own nuclear facilities. We must have truth. We must have accountability. Because, friends, it's very simple. If we do not hold people accountable to what they are required to do, they will not do it. Peace through strength. Leadership through example. Tonight, on a hot August evening in 2015, will our children say to us, did you do all you could to keep Iran from getting a nuclear weapon? Because, friends, I can't live with myself if I don't. Will you join me? Kill the deal! Kill the deal! Senator Gillibrand, kill this deal! Kill this deal! Kill this deal!
Kill this deal!
God bless you. God bless America.
He was the first one when Gerald Nadler so deeply disappointed us. He was the first one when Senator Gillibrand disappointed us. Please welcome Assemblymember Dov Hikind.
First, I want to recognize a superstar from the Jewish community who's here with us right behind me. He is one of the great leaders of the Jewish community. I'm speaking of Rabbi Herschel Schechter, Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshiva University, right here. Ladies and gentlemen, oh, right here, look at this. Ayatollah thanks America. And let me tell you something. No wonder he is smiling. Let me tell you who else is smiling besides the Ayatollah. Let me tell you who else, Jerry Nadler, Gillibrand. Let me tell you who else is very, very happy. Assad of Syria is very happy about this deal. Yeah, Boo is right. Let me tell you who else is very happy. Hezbollah, the terrorist organization in Lebanon, they are very happy because they will have more missiles directed at Israel. Let me tell you who else is very happy. Hamas and every other terrorist organization in the Middle East is thrilled with Obama, our president. And let me say to Gillibrand, you know, it's very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. On the day that Senator Schumer explained to the American people why this deal is bad for America, that very same day, you know, the senior Senator Schumer, that very same day, Gillibrand said it was a good deal. Well, not a good deal, not a great deal. It was an okay deal. Shame on Gillibrand! Shame on
Gillibrand!
everybody!
Shame on!
I don't hear you!
Shame on Gillibrand! Shame on Gillibrand!
I mean, this, ladies and gentlemen, this deal, let us make no mistake about this deal. The New York Times said this a couple of days ago. They said that President Obama was overselling the deal. He was being too optimistic. By the way, mentioning President Obama's name, ladies and gentlemen, do you remember all the red lines that President Obama had 2 years ago? Do you remember what the president said? Better no deal than a bad deal. All the people everyone who supports this deal, ladies and gentlemen, everyone who supports this deal, in the first paragraph of the press release, tell you what a bad deal, that it isn't really such a good deal, but they tell you it's the only deal. Ladies and gentlemen, no question about it. Iran will have a nuclear weapon thanks to President Obama and his legacy. Jerry Nadler is an old friend. We're not friends anymore. Jerry Nadler, Congressman Nadler, I tell you, I wish I had a plane like Air Force One. Because, when the president took Jerry Nadler on his plane, the president, by the way, after 6.5 years of President Obama, he discovered there's a guy in Congress, a Democrat, by the name of Jerry Nadler. He didn't know who Jerry Nadler was, and Jerry Nadler was so freaking impressed. The president finally met with him after 6+ years, ladies and gentlemen. Wow! And by the way, let me tell you, I feel real good now. You know what else happened? President Obama gave Jerry Nadler a letter. If he keeps his commitments to Jerry Nadler the way he kept his commitments in Syria and other parts of the world, we are in a lot of trouble. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me say to everybody here, we're not giving up. We're not giving up. And everybody here, we will not forget. We will not forget. Everybody.
We will
not forget. We
will not forget.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we continue to fight. We are not giving up. The battle is not over. It's not even over once the vote takes place. And as a Democrat, God, I wish I could be a proud Democrat. Ladies and gentlemen, I've told my colleagues, please, let's not make this about Democrats or Republicans. Let's make this about America, what's good for America. But then again, what do I know? 190 generals and admirals last week issued a public letter to leaders of the Congress, 190, and they said this is a disaster for America. But what do they know? What do 190 generals and admirals know? Ladies and gentlemen, everyone together, we're going to chant something for those people across the street. By the way, I am their favorite. The Natur Karta guys across the street, I'm their favorite. Everyone together. I'm going to say it in English and we'll chant it in Hebrew. The people of Israel live. Am Yisrael Chai. Everybody. I can't hear you. Am Yisrael Chai. We must stand up for America and we must stand up for our friends in the Middle East. And I promise you, regardless of the way it looks, we will win. We will win. Thank you and God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you, Doe. Ladies and gentlemen, the letter which Jerry Nadler received from President Obama, if I were Gerald Nadler, I would have that letter encased and insured. It will be a historical document. It will be as valuable as the letter which Neville Chamberlain held in 1938. The letter held by Jerry Nadler will be a famous and valuable letter. God bless you, Jerry. You've made it. You've made it. Now, what I'm really holding is a full-page ad which appeared, of all places, in the Sunday New York Times. 214 senior members of the military, brigadier generals, lieutenant generals, admirals, rear admirals, 214, all of them with a knowledge of national defense and security. I want to ask you, Kirsten, we used to work in Senator D'Amato's office. Where did you learn so much about national security? Are you telling us, Kirsten Gillibrand, that you know more than these 214 people? Do you really believe the claptrap that you mouth to the press, that it's an imperfect deal, but it stops Iran, and all of these other lovely things, notwithstanding the 24 days notice of inspections, the self-inspections at Parchin, death to America, death to Israel, all of the other things, the persecution of gays, the blood in the streets in 2009. Kirsten Gillibrand, we're asking you, do you really believe that? You're really going to go to the press tomorrow when they ask you, because they've been here today, and the media is going to come to you tomorrow, and they're going to say, you know, this crazy guy, Jeff Weiesenfeld, that you used to work with in D'Amato's office, said X, Y, and Z. Tell us, Kirsten Gillibrand, do you really believe what you said? Because you know what? I know better. I know you don't believe it. And what's really troubling about this is not just your misjudgment, it's your intellectual dishonesty. And any senator that is possessed of intellectual dishonesty is not worthy of the office. Get it? Please welcome a great leader in the Jewish community and beyond, a voice of conscience, Rabbi Avi Weiss.
Let's really join and put our hands together and thank Jeffrey, thank Hillary and Sari, really for Richard for putting this all together. Let's really acknowledge their great efforts. Everyone, really. And I wanted to welcome all of you on the Sunday before Yom Kippurim. We suspect that right about then, Congress is going to be voting whether to override the veto. There'll be a rabbinic-led rally right near the American mission to the United Nations on 45th Street and 1st Avenue. So please put that in your minds at noon, Sunday, September 20th. Friends, I want to introduce an idea that I believe a concern, a deep concern, that I believe has not been raised. We've all heard the words. We've heard words like 24 days, sunset, self-inspection, $150 billion. I want to introduce a new horrific concept that, God forbid, should never, ever become a reality. But the concept and the words are a nuclear terrorist bomb. I want to repeat that. A nuclear terrorist bomb. Everyone here is concerned that this treaty will lead to, God forbid, an attempt by Iran to bomb Tel Aviv, to, God forbid, try to strike not only Tel Aviv, but America. But Iran is a terrorist state, and it will have no hesitation not only to give Hezbollah and Hamas money, but to give them terrorist bombs with nuclear capabilities. Think about that for a moment, where nuclear capability is not only in the hands of governments, as evil as they may be, they're still governments. But imagine the bomber at the Boston Marathon. Imagine those who took planes into the Twin Towers. Imagine those who struck bombs in Tel Aviv. Imagine that it's not just nails in their bomb, but nuclear capabilities. Just imagine. And I issue this warning from this place at this time, that if this treaty becomes a reality, that's the vector. That's where we're pointed to. God forbid that should ever occur. And so together, we declare that we will be strong. We will be strong, and with the help of God, only with the help of God, we will overcome. Join me in the tefillah, join me in the prayer for Tzva Haganah Yisrael, the most moral army on the face of this earth. Join me in a prayer for the American forces. Ki malachav yitzav elach lishmarcha b'chol drachecha. Join me, Adonai yishma tzeitcha uvorecha me'ata v'ad olam. May God protect America and Israel. May God protect those who are defending us. They're going out and coming in forever. In that spirit, on the eve of Shana Tova, let's join together. Od Avinu Chai, join me. Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu Chai, Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael. Prayer is also important. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am. Everyone, one time. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Jeffrey. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu Chai.
There's a gentleman in the audience, I can't see him from here, but I remember him from my days in city government, a hero of New York City, who regrettably sacrificed so much for all of us, but he's been with us before, and whenever someone calls him to my attention because he's unfortunately in a wheelchair, let us express our gratitude for the presence, for the life, and for the good health of Police Officer Stephen McDonald. Whoever is near Stephen McDonald, could you raise your hand so I could see where he is? Stephen McDonald, God bless you for joining us once again. We have someone here who bears witness to the tyranny of Iran. Raised here in New York, Rebecca Sassouni was born to Iranian Jewish immigrants. Her parents were persecuted on the way out. It was her intention once she completed her studies to return to Iran, but of course, there was no Iran to go back to by 1979, as we all know. Rebecca is a practicing attorney in the field of education law, graduate of Hofstra Law School, and the former associate editor of its Law Review. These are the people who have really lost their nation of heritage, a nation that has fallen back into medieval times, into darkness, the darkness which will now be funded by the United States of America if we don't stop it. Please welcome Rebecca Sassouni.
Good evening. It's my honor to address you tonight. My name is Rebecca Yousefzadeh Sassouni, and as you heard, I'm a first-generation American, born in the United States to Iranian Jewish immigrants. When I was small, my parents quickly realized that we could not return to Iran. We couldn't go back because the country was teetering on the edge of a revolution. Ultimately, many of my family members ended up emigrating to the United States as refugees. Their lives were interrupted, their property was confiscated, they were beleaguered, and they were lucky to be smuggled out. Some of the Iranian Jews that I know weren't as lucky as my family. Their families were jailed as Zionist spies. Some were even executed. My family are actually some of the lucky ones who made it out. And yet it's not lost on me that many of my relatives and my friends who grew up in Iran are sometimes very conflicted about whether to speak out against Iran publicly, given the repression that they internalized growing up there. They remain very traumatized and very scarred. But I was born in the United States, and I treasure it, so I will say what others might not be willing to say. I oppose the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. I oppose it as a Jew. I oppose it as a Zionist, as a relative of Iranian expatriate Jews, and above all, as a proud American. I love living in the United States. I love that I was able to study law here, to have an ethnic identity, a Jewish identity, a Persian identity in the diaspora. Jews in Iran have been there for almost 3,000 years, and now there's so few left, scattered all over the world. And I'm able to maintain my Persian identity in the United States because of the freedoms that we enjoy here. But I will also say that growing up here, I have developed a very strong American civic pride. And in the spirit of my atonement for the high holidays, I have to confess something to you. I voted for President Obama. That was the reaction I expected. But I share it with you because nobody can accuse me of not giving him the benefit of the doubt. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I am terribly saddened by where he has brought our country now. So I stand here and I shake my head wondering how we've reached a point where the president asks us all to have amnesia, how he has forgotten what the Islamic Republic of Iran has done to our people, what it's done to the Middle East, that it's a state sponsor of terror, that the people there are subjected to the cries of Marg bar America, Marg bar Israel on a daily basis and indoctrinated, that there are annual Holocaust denial conferences there, that they jail journalists, that they jail homosexuals, women, Jews, Christians, Baha'is, and Zoroastrians. I don't understand how the president, as he did on Friday during his live message to the Jewish people, admitted that he hears all the tweets and just doesn't think that they matter very much. He discounts them. If you heard him on Friday speaking to Federation, he said, and he kind of laughed, he chuckled, and he said, we're not normalizing relations with Iran. He said that our best negotiations for security are with our enemies. But even if someone wanted to take his comments at face value, and I know most of us don't, but if we wanted to take his comments at face value, you have to wonder what kind of a deal he thinks he's reached with an enemy when he bargained for it from a position of weakness for the United States and for Europe. I'm not a physicist, but I'm a lawyer, as was said, and I read the plan. And the terms betray over and over again an egregiously weak negotiating posture. They remove international sanctions, as we've heard. They authorize the release of billions of dollars that were frozen until now. The agreement actually says that Iran is not bound at all. It's completely voluntary. If anyone challenges in Iran and says that they want inspections, Iran is allowed to opt out and to say, you know what, we're not going to be party to this deal anymore because we don't like that you asked us for inspections. Also, they're allowed to just cancel at any time. Recently, the president of Iran went on the record and said he doesn't want to bring the plan to his parliament for review because he doesn't want to give it the force of law. He doesn't want to legitimize the deal. The so-called inspections provisions are a joke, as we've heard, and the snapback provisions are illusory because really they're snap forward. Basically, there's no snapping back. Even if someone wanted to reimpose the sanctions, they wouldn't be retroactive. They'd only be proactive. So basically, it's a voluntary, crappy deal for the United States and for Europe. And now we're being asked to just take it on faith. And actually, the agreement even says that we are relying on, and I'm quoting from it, the good faith of the Iranian regime. Given my background, there's no way I would ever rely on the good faith of the Iranian regime. So I ask you a question, though. It's true that a lot of us here support Israel, and I'm grateful for that. And a lot of us here are proud Jews and Zionists. But I have a question. Why is it that this deal is being characterized as an issue only about Israel and about Jews? Why is it that the majority of the American public opposes the plan? We live in a representative nation. We have elected representatives. Their job is to represent us, and we have a president who's telling them that he's going to veto them if they try. That should concern all Americans. as well as the Jews, and as well as the Zionists. And I really, really resent what the Obama administration has done, fostering a sideshow where Jews' loyalty is being challenged, and where the liberal media and some of the Jewish press, who are very neurotic, keep harping on the divisions among Jews, rather than on the fact that the broader American public opposes the deal. So I ask you, why does the public oppose the deal? It's because the American public is smart and they realize that the deal stinks. We want to know what happened to no deal is better than a bad deal. We want to know why the president is so condescending and is telling our elected representatives not to represent us, that he's going to pressure them and veto if they vote against his agenda. So I will just, in conclusion, say, as a first-generation American, I don't take anything for granted. I don't take for granted all the freedoms that we have here. And as a Jew, I don't take for granted the miracle that there's a state of Israel in my lifetime that Jews have yearned for millennia. And I certainly do not take for granted that the Islamic Republic of Iran's regime will renounce repression and terror voluntarily out of good faith in the next 15 years. Make no mistake about it, the regime is about to be emboldened. It'll be stronger than ever, richer than ever, more repressive than ever, and authoritarian, to the detriment of the people of Iran, and of course to the detriment of the entire globe and people here and in Israel. So basically, I have to be an optimist. On the way in here, I was actually thinking maybe it's futile and maybe we have no chance. But we heard Senator Lieberman basically exhorting Senator Gillibrand and others to think twice. There has been new information that's come out about the rotten deal, about the side deals. There is a way for them to change their votes, and we have to hope that they will do so before September 17th. So don't give up. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Ladies and gentlemen, you know, the Center for Security Policy is an organization based in Washington. The individual who is the executive director of that organization, Frank Gaffney, started his political career as an aide to the great Senator Henry Scoop Jackson. And that agency is responsible for all of the research which examines all of the threats to the American people from various sources, and most prominently now from the government of Iran, which this deal and this president will, God forbid, guarantee will last for a generation or more. He is entrenching the Ayatollahs to help us fight this, to help us resist. Please welcome Frank Gaffney.
Good evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating in a critically important moment of democracy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about democracy because it is under threat. Not just from the Ayatollahs, I regret to say, but from our own government. We are witnessing in our time the single most dangerous agreement that has ever been signed in human history. Ironically, it hasn't even been signed, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody signed this agreement of ours. Not the US, not the Europeans, not the Iranians for sure. But instead, we're going down this road, promised again and again and again that this is going to cut off all of the pathways to a bomb for the Iranians. This is going to ensure that they are prevented from becoming a greater peril to the Middle East, to our friends in Israel, to us. This is what is technically called in totalitarian systems the big lie. It ain't so. And you know it's not so. And much more importantly, in a way, people like Kristen Gillibrand know it's not so either. Which makes this a scandal, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to come together to point out the truth and to hold people like Kristen Gillibrand accountable for their vote in favor of this monstrous fraud, this national security fraud being perpetrated by our government. Our government wants you to believe this is all over, folks. It's all done. They say that the president's veto of a resolution to disapprove this deal is now assured, because a small minority, a small partisan minority, is determined to sustain the president's veto and foist this dangerous deal on all of us. They even say, I don't know if you've been following the latest developments on this, but they're now even saying that they have a slightly larger, but still small, still partisan minority that will vote to prevent the Senate of the United States from even voting on this resolution of disapproval. Can you believe that? We're talking about having abandoned the constitutional process, which says that 2/3 of the Senate have to affirmatively support something like this, to a deal in which only 1/3 of the Senate can foist it on us, to the point where not even that is needed to get us no vote at all. I honestly don't think I've known a scandal of this size in Washington in my professional career, and that's saying something, as you know. What do we say? I suggest we say, it isn't over. We will not have our lives and those of our children and those of our children's children put in peril, endangered by a deal which senators in our United States Senate are too cowardly even to have a vote on. That's outrageous. It mustn't happen, not on our watch. Speaking of courage, as you all know, Senator Bob Menendez challenged the big lie eloquently, forcefully. He spoke the truth about this bomb, this Obama bomb. And what did he say? He said he was going to vote against this agreement so that his name would not be on that bomb of Iran's. Now I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, do you want the names of people who represent you in the Congress on that bomb? Say, Kristen Gillibrand's name on that bomb? If you don't, let's let her hear us now. No to the Obama bomb. No to the Obama bomb. No, your name must not be on the Obama bomb, because we don't want our name on its crosshairs. Let me close by saying this rally is another important reminder of democracy mattering. A week from now, we're going to have another one at just the critical moment, we think, in Washington, D.C. You'll be able to see such important individuals there as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz and Glenn Beck, and I'm hoping tens of thousands of our countrymen on the 9th of September, starting at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the west lawn of the Capitol of the United States. I hope every one of you will make an effort to be there and to bring people that you love, people who, like you, will be endangered by the Obama bomb if Kristen Gillibrand supports this dangerous deal with Iran. Let me conclude by introducing the man I have the great privilege of working with at the Center for Security Policy. He's one of the country's foremost experts on this deal. You probably have seen his writings everywhere because he is desperately trying to educate all of us as to what is at stake here, what the risks are for our country and for its people. His name is Fred Fleitz. He served with great distinction in the intelligence community of the United States for about 20 years. His job in the Central Intelligence Agency was to monitor what these sorts of threats are and what they're becoming. He is the man who probably did as much as anything besides Senator Tom Cotton and Congressman Mike Pompeo to bring to our attention the side deals that the Obama administration has allowed to be struck but will not show the Congress of the United States, something that is explicitly required in the Corker-Cardin bill. So please join me in thanking for his extraordinary service in the CIA, in John Bolton's office at the State Department, and in the House Intelligence Committee, my friend and colleague, Fred Fleitz.
It's a pleasure to be here. I want to talk quickly about the secret side deals that will allow Iran to collect evidence against its own nuclear weapons work. Now, the Obama administration says there are no secret side deals where Iran will do this. Then they said, well, maybe there are deals like this, but Iran's not going to collect the evidence. Then they said, well, Iran is going to collect this evidence, but this is some separate arrangement that doesn't matter because it concerns issues of the past. And according to Secretary Kerry, we have perfect knowledge about Iran's nuclear program. I worked with the CIA, the House Intelligence Committee, and for John Bolton on the Iran nuclear program. We do not have perfect knowledge about Iran's nuclear program. We know there are enormous gaps of WMD programs in rogue states. We saw that in North Korea. Now, it's interesting. The Obama administration until April said that this issue, officially known as possible military dimensions, that's UN lingo for nuclear weapons work, would be in the final agreement. He said this. But then in late May or early June, Secretary Kerry made an offer to the Iranians to close the book on this issue with some very generous provisions. The Iranians turned Secretary Kerry down. Then he started saying, well, it doesn't matter. These are issues of the past. Our intelligence community has perfect knowledge of the Iranian nuclear program. He said, we know what they did. We don't know what they did. And I can tell you that because I have read the very sensitive intelligence on Iran's nuclear program. So lo and behold, after this agreement is announced, these secret side deals show up, which incorporate this issue that could not be resolved during the nuclear talks. I don't believe in coincidences. The administration could not resolve this during the talks, and they suddenly showed up in agreements that you can't see, that the U.S. Congress cannot see. So why are they secret? So the U.S. Congress cannot see an agreement where Iran will actually collect evidence on its nuclear weapons program. As someone who worked in this field, I am astonished at such a proposal. You can't let someone who committed a crime collect evidence at the crime scene. That's not the way it's done. It's extremely outrageous. It is not a routine arrangement. But I'm going to add one more thing that is not generally known, and this is in an op-ed I had published today in Investors Business Daily. I hope you can check it out. There is good reason to believe that these secret side deals were written by the United States, or written by Obama administration officials, and I explained this in my op-ed. The reason is they needed to get this issue put aside to get a final agreement with Iran. So I have some questions for Senator Gillibrand, and then I'll wrap up. Senator Gillibrand, how can you vote on an agreement when a significant part of it is not available to you? This doesn't make any sense. She doesn't know what we've agreed to. The Obama administration has said they have not seen these documents themselves. But the second point, and this is very important, this constitutes national security fraud. How can Senator Gillibrand stand by an agreement that was brought about through national security fraud? Senator Gillibrand, please change your vote. You cannot vote for an agreement that you haven't seen. You cannot vote for an agreement that is based on national security fraud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, David Pollack. Hello, wave David Pollack. Everybody wave to David Pollack, representing the JCRC. I'm sure he's going to love that. Anyway, we want to thank Augie Wolf for joining us, who's running for the United States Senate in Connecticut. So if Senator Blumenthal disappoints us, well, you know where to go. We just want to preempt. We're not saying, we don't know. Pretty good bet, I'd say. Pretty good bet. And I've heard that, where's Curtis? Curtis Lee was here with us. Where is he? He's always in the right place. Let's have a hand for Curtis Lewa. Folks, listen, it's an ongoing fight. It's very serious. It's about our children. It's about our future. It's about the United States of America. If we give in to these barbarians, we are through. When the President of the United States says you don't make peace with your friends, you make it with your enemies, they don't want to make peace with us. They're not ready. And let me tell you, they may deny it all they want. It'll never be good with them until that regime is changed. And anyone who tells you otherwise is a damned liar. Everyone, happy and healthy New Year. Fight, and let's hope that around the country, when they see what happened here tonight, that in other cities, they will replicate the efforts that we made here and go after their own Congress members and their own senators who are on the fence or opposing. Thank you very much to the New York Police Department. You know I love you, even though I gave you a little bit of aggravation. Let's have a hand for the NYPD. Good night, and keep on fighting.